Hey, who's your friends? Welcome back. Another edition of Under the Hood with Indiana football presented by your Central Indiana Ford dealers, proud sponsor of IU football. Reminder to get out there and visit your local Central Indiana Ford dealer today. I'm Rhett Lewis, excited to be back here with you as this encapsulates the final week of spring ball, getting set for the spring showcase Thursday night at the Rock. And we get a chance to catch up with second year cornerbacks Coach Rod Ojan is here with us once again. Coach, man, so great to get a chance to chat with you, especially as we're kind of starting to put the finishing touches here on spring ball. Man, I remember when we got a chance to talk in this setting a year ago, and now fast forwarding a year, man, what a year it's been for the Hoosiers and for you. And I just love to get your thoughts on kind of where you stand, right, compared to where we were a year ago at this time.
Yeah, with everything you do, the second year is always the better year. You have I already have a full year in the defense, so guys are picking up things faster. So you're talking less about scheme and more about splits and indications from offense. So guys are picking it up really quickly. Obviously, we got a few new guys in the back end that we got to get them caught up. But I've been relatively pleased with how it's been the whole spring.
Yeah, as you kind of assess, where things have gone this spring, how would you kind of describe the difference? You talked about it a little bit in understanding of the scheme, but like also of your expectation level of some of these guys that are returning for their second year. Like, how does building upon that foundation here in a second spring become so valuable?
Yeah, we have high standards around here, and it starts with Sig. Obviously we got good players in the room, D'Angelo Ponz, and it's just not allowing those guys to get comfortable. So every day is a new day. I don't care what you did last season. I don't care what you did last practice.
Love
So we
that.
got to strive to be the best player we can on that day, and we got to stack days each and every day.
And speaking of, building a foundation and expectations being ultra high, how does D'Angelo Ponz's, success last year, how does his work to continue to get better kind of set the tone and the foundation for your room?
Yeah, and he's a leader, man. He's everything you want in the corner. He's more of a lead by example guy, but he comes to work every single day. Helps the younger guys, helps the transfers. In the front of the line, he is. If something happens on the field, he's the first one to get them before I even get there. So he's thinking like I am.
Yeah.
He's like another coach on the field. So I'm very proud to have him around here.
Freshman All American at JMU, comes into IU. He's an All Big Ten, second team All American player, number of signature plays. I think of rolling out the big red carpet. I was on the broadcast for that in the Washington game with that pick six that kind of set the Rock on fire. What do you want to see him even do to take his game to another level this year?
Yeah, well, that kid, he plays with a chip on his shoulders, because he was overlooked, and every day, right? He asks questions in the meeting room on how he could get better, how to disguise, talking more about splits and indications with receivers. So the kid, he's a pro, and he's up here every day, whether that's rehab and taking care of his body or just watching film on what happened last year and just getting caught up on not really caught up, but like really looking at his opponents coming up. Like
Yeah.
um, he'll start looking at receivers and how they run their routes and stuff. The kid's everything you want.
Man, I love that. And how does that kind of influence, the way you go about and try to bring, other corners, to this program, whether that's from the high school ranks, whether that's from, the college ranks through the transfer portal. Like what do you look at and what do you look for in a corner that way?
Well, you have all the intangibles, whether it's speed and length and all that. But the biggest thing for me is, do you love football? Because football's hard. And working with me, I'm not the easiest person to work for. And every day we're going to attack the day, and that's just point blank. Period. God give you opportunity to wake up this morning, and we're going to take advantage of it. So just being the best version of yourself that day. And you gotta love football, man. You gotta love it because we spend a lot of time in this building, putting towards being great at that game.
and certainly some new faces, that fit that bill in your room this year. A couple of transfers, coming in with some experience in college football already. What were the goals that you wanted to have, for guys that are coming into this program and this is their first time practicing as an Indiana Hoosier here this spring?
Yeah, so it's just learn how to practice. That's the biggest thing. Learn how to practice, learn our standard, staying off the ground, having good fundamentals, whether that's your stance, your starts, press, your alignment on your press stance and all that. But just learning how to practice. With our defense, obviously we run a very complicated scheme.
Yeah.
So we ask a lot of those corners. They have a lot of different job responsibilities. So it's just being able to retain the material given to them and just get better each and every day. I don't want to coach the same mistakes, create a new mistake. All right. Because if you create a new mistake, you've learned from the old one. So
That's right.
just getting better each and every day.
No, I love that. And, I'm always kind of curious too in a practice setting, especially when you get some new blood right into the mix like you have this year, both at the wide receiver spot and at the corner spot. Like when those two positions get after it, whether that's in a one-on-one setting, in a team setting, what has that competition been like with your guys and with the pass catchers on the other side of the ball?
Yeah, iron sharpens iron, and we're fortunate enough here that we have really good receivers. So I tell those guys every day, you're going against the best in the conference, whether that's EJ, Surratt, Coop.
Yeah.
You can't take a play off because you never know when the ball's coming, and these quarterbacks we have, they'll put it in the right spot. So we have to be that much detailed in where we are down the field as we finish on the receiver down the field.
And when you look at not just the idea of trying to set the foundation with the players, but like you talked about, you being year two in this scheme here with Coach Haynes and with Coach Sig and with this program, and to have basically the same defensive staff rocking and rolling together for a second season. What does that continuity do for you guys as a collective defensive coaching staff?
Yeah, so for me is I start thinking like Coach Haynes would. As we
Yeah.
talk about it in the defensive staff room, I start seeing it like him. I'm starting to know what he's going to call in some situations. So you understand what he's looking for and how to teach it. You really didn't have that year one because you're kind of filling it out. Year two, I kind of know what he is looking for in the technique wise, and then with Coach Sig is just speaking the same language, having a one common theme, and everything he portrays or says in the staff meetings, it has to be said the same way in position meetings because it
Yeah.
has to be one voice and one common theme.
Yeah, and on that note, I think you've touched on this a little bit here, but the one thing I love about Coach Sig is the continuity of message, right? The consistency of expectation, right? All right, sure, college football playoff in year one, most successful season in Indiana football history. But what have you done for me this year? What have you done for me today? How does, in your opinion, Coach Sig really set the tone with his messaging for this program and his standard that he has for this program?
Yeah, with his standard and his messaging, he's not going to let you feel good about yourself. I mean, it's next play on the field, next day, next game. All right, we never dwell or get too high on the highs, too low on the lows. It's always next play mentality, and you can't. It is not. Oh, around here is never warm and fuzzies. So it's always fourth and short. You know,
Love that.
because these kids are just going to follow the standard you set for them. So we try to set a very high standard around here.
Fourth and short mentality, right there with the game on the line. Love it. Love that. Love that. And as you guys kind of put the bow on spring here this week, what do you want your guys to accomplish in the summer before they come back to you for fall camp?
I just want just them go back and sharpen up the technique we have instilled in them during the spring. All right.
Yeah.
I don't want them to come back and take a step backwards. All right.
Mhm.
So we should build off of what we've done in the spring. They've already heard the install one time before. Obviously, you get some time with them in the spring, excuse me, in the summer to install it again. And then in the fall camp, it should be their third time hearing it. So now we're rocking and rolling and things should be smooth. And now we're playing at a high caliber.
Well, that's what we love to see. And your guys in that room certainly did a year ago. And I know you'll have them ready to rock and roll here to finish up spring ball. And then, of course, get ready for this 2025 football season. Coach John, sure do appreciate you giving us a few minutes here on Under the Hood, man. Best to you guys as you finish up spring.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you again.
All right, that's another episode there. Under the Hood with IU Football, presented by your Central Indiana Ford dealers. I'm Rhett Lewis. Get out there and pack the rock on Thursday night, and we look forward to catching up with you post spring game. We'll see you next time.